Is it finally the right time to buy in Lakewood Ranch? Well, I have the April 2025 market stats, and they reveal some surprising facts. How long this market will last at this pace, I'm not sure, but in this video, we're going to discover if it's actually a good time to buy in Lakewood Ranch. Hello, it's MarkBoehmig, Michael Saunders Company, and in this channel, Living in Lakewood Ranch, we cover all the areas around Lakewood Ranch, from Bradenton to Sarasota and Siesta Key up to Anna Maria Island. So most of you that follow this channel know that I do a market update for the Lakewood Ranch area on a monthly basis. And so today is about the middle of May, and I do have the April statistics out. So I thought we'd take a few minutes and go over them. But let me say this first. I know that our market has tremendously slowed down and inventory has really risen. And one of the factors that I see that makes this the way it is the new home construction is now offering incentives. I just did a video last week on what Wild Blue at Stock Development was offering for new home incentives. And I'll put a link to that video up here so you can take a look at that. Esplanade Azario is doing the same thing. Star Farms, all of the developers here are now offering incentives. And of course, a couple of years ago, they weren't offering anything. It was totally the sellers who were in control of the market, but we have seen a dramatic shift over the last couple of years, and now we're definitely into more of a buyer's market. So let me show you some things that I have found that are kind of interesting and where we are in our stats. And I'm going to go a little bit deeper today and show you some things that I find myself interesting. So to start off with, this is as of the end of April of 2025. We had a total of 695 homes that were for sale on the market. 153 went pending and 139 closed. So this line here remains relatively stable. Now, remember, this is for zip codes 34202 and for 34211. We'll get into the entire Lakewood Ranch area in just a minute. What if we looked at this over a longer time span? This is just over really about 13, 14 months. So you can see that's February of 24 all the way up to April of 25. So if we looked at this over a 5-year time span, and as you can see how back in March or April of 2020, we had about 400 homes on the market. And today we have a little over 700 homes. So the inventory has really grown. And as you can see here from the number of sales, sales have not been as up and down as the number of homes have been on the market, but our sales have relatively remained stable, as well as the items that have gone pending. So what about pricing? Pricing is always the big question. Price per square foot. How much are things selling for? Well, a brand new home is probably going to sell for a tad more price per square foot than an older home, but that has shifted as well. So right now, last month for 34202 and 34211, we were at $349 a square foot, up slightly from March, but you can see that's down significantly from a high of $380 a square foot, which was just in February of this year. But what if we look at that over a longer time period? Back in 4 of 20, you should have bought then. Houses selling on average a little over $200 a square foot, and now we're up to that 340 number. You can see after we got to the pandemic, they started really rising and taking off. So we had a huge increase during the pandemic. So now we're going to look at median pricing and what things are listing for and selling for. So the median sale price was $710,000. Average list price was $978, and the average sold was $952,000. Wow. Days on market has really increased. So last month, it was 95 days on market, and the list price to sell price ratio was 90%. So those two numbers really do go hand in hand, because the more inventory you have, the better opportunity that the buyers have for making a better deal, because if they don't buy this one, then they go right to the next one and right to the next one. It's almost the inverse of what happened during the pandemic, when the sellers were in charge, and if you didn't give the best price, then they waited on the next one and the next one, and it went very fast. All right, so our inventory is still remaining at about 5 months, but from the amount of inventory that we actually have, I feel like this number feels bigger than actually 5 months of inventory. So this is the big kicker right here. This is the interest rates. You know, most of our sales here are cash, but interest rates still have a huge effect on the market. 6.862% has been the rate that it's been holding at kind of steady here for the last 2 or 3 weeks, and that's not helping us all. And I'm going to give you an example of the effect that this has in just a moment. So as you know, the 34202 and 34211 does not include any of the Sarasota. So when we come in here and we put in this map, right here is University Parkway, and this line here, this lower section includes all of the quote unquote Lakewood Ranch. So in this particular segment, we had 448 properties that were active on the market. And then we had 112 in this area that went pending. This does not include a lot of the new construction because the new construction does not report these numbers to the MLS. And then sold, 136 sold. And the average sale price was $335 a square foot in this geographic location right here. So this is what I wanted to point out about interest rates. At the median price of $715,000 with a $143,000 down payment, which is 20%, 30 years at 3%, which is what it was back in 20 and 21, your payments, just principal and interest, not including taxes or insurance, but just P&I, was $4,212 a month. So what happens if you take those numbers and you calculate that out to the basically 6.85%? That jumps it up 30 to $3,748 a month. So that is a huge increase. So the rule here is for every increase of 1% in the interest rate is a decrease in 10% of the buying power. So right now we're almost 4 points higher than the 3%. So that means a 40% reduction in what they could buy. So if they could afford $1 million, now they can only afford $600,000. And that's a huge difference, especially when the prices of the homes from 2020 to what they are now are a lot more expensive. So therefore their buying power is a lot less. So it's very difficult to get into what we would call a move up home for a growing family. So where do I think that we're going to end up? Well, if the interest rates do drop, and it does not look at this time like they're going to have any kind of a significant drop. I know in a video I made previously, maybe last month, I thought that they were coming down, but I do not think that they're coming down. So where do I see things going from here? Well, I thought that the interest rates were going to come down, but they haven't. And I don't think that they are going to come down significantly anytime soon. Our inflation is still hovering at about 3.2 to 3.3%, and they wanted that to get down to 2%. And I don't see that that's going to take place anytime soon. So what I think is going to happen is if and when the interest rate does come down, then that's going to let these people that could not afford to move up to have a better chance of moving up. And then that's going to create more buyers in the market. Now, a lot of our sales are cash. And I think that most of those people are watching the stock market. They don't want to pull their money out when the market is down. They want to pull their money out when it is the maximum that they can get for it. So if the market starts to stable out and we have some people that are willing to pull their money out of the stock market to put it into the real estate market, then we can also see an increase. But right now, I see this as an advantage for buyers, any buyers that can actually take advantage of this time frame in this lull with all this inventory. I think they have the upper hand right now. So another thing of interest, we've started a new channel called Relocation Your Move, and it's to help buyers and sellers connect with agents, just like a lot of you have connected with me over the years, to try and find a good agent that can give you good service no matter where you are. So the Relocation Your Move is a new YouTube channel. I'll put a link down in the description below. You might want to go and check it out. For any of those that are anywhere in the country that are thinking about making a move, we're part of Leading RE, which is Leading Real Estate Companies of the World. So we have over 550,000 agents all across the globe. So if you wanted to go to Portugal, if you wanted to go to Canada, if you wanted to go to Mexico, we have agents in all of those markets. There is no cost to you to use this service. We just connect you with qualified certified agents in any of those markets. So I would encourage you to check out that channel, Relocation is Your Move, and you might know somebody that could take advantage of having that opportunity to get connected with a good real estate agent that knows their market well. So I'm going to put a link here to the video for the Wild Blue where their incentives are going on, and also where they're actually releasing their 7 models that are on the big lake in Wild Blue. So if that's of interest, check that out. Mark Boehmig, Michael Saunders Company.